Well, good morning, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back to another trading session. It is Monday, so there's a new week starting, and yeah, I hope your weekend went well. Hope you took some rest as well, and I hope you're ready for a new week of trading action. So let's see what the market has been doing since it just opened here at 6 p.m. at the 5th of October. Well, I just marked the new week opening gap here. In between Asia, it kind of accumulated a bit. London, it seems like London manipulated to the downside, taking out Asia lows. So right now I'm just waiting, or I'm just expecting for price to reach new all-time highs, taking out previous week's high. Since I think it's a clear draw on liquidity, and it might happen right at the start of the session, right at 9:30. Meanwhile, NQ already took the previous week's high. It's kind of a new all-time high as well. So I'm just probably shifting my bias, or just taking a bearish bias if I see something failing to the upside and displacing aggressively to the downside. Then I would eventually change my bias for the new week's opening gap. Otherwise, I believe the previous week's high is still in play here for ES. So we got the open right at 9:30 here, as you can see. Let me take this off. So far, ES kind of rejected 8:30 open, and it's been held by the midnight open here. I will check how the regular trading hours is right now. So we still have some buy side liquidity here on the regular trading hour session just to take out. Let me check M&Q. Yeah, meanwhile, NQ already took out that liquidity. As you can see here, there's no buy side liquidity left here on NQ. Just this new high here. So let's see if price really goes straight to the upside, or if it just takes out this buy side liquidity and then starts to head lower, eventually taking out some lower liquidity here. But yeah, I really would like to see price climbing to the upside, eventually marking a new high, and only after marking a new high, descending down eventually to the new week opening gap. But I think it's still early. We have to keep in mind that today is a no news Monday. So a no news Monday is always a low probability session. So we have to keep that in mind as well. But so far, price is being rejected by here at 8:30 open. The midpoint of this fair value gap is being tested here, which was also rejected, but we still have midnight open here holding price. So let's wait a bit more just to see what price has really as an intention. Seems like NQ, the strongest asset, starting to show some weak signs of weakness. I mean, yeah, I believe my my live stream is laggy today. I don't know why. I guess it's a connection problem here, but I can't do nothing about it, honestly. At this point, NQ is really falling down here. Took out London lows here. Yeah, but YM is just accumulating, as you can see here. So no, not a good read from YM, honestly. It's taking out London lows right now. Yeah, and Q is heading lower as well. And ES already lost midnight open as well. So now let's see if this will really be a breakout to the downside or just a Judas swing, taking out some measure of sell side liquidity. Yeah, I'm just watching if price wants to retrace lower, probably to the midpoint of the opening range gap here, or if it just wants to take out these lows here, the pre-session lows, and then move forward to the upside. So we cannot consider this the first presentation of the first presented fair value gap. We still have to wait. But so far, yes, is playing below midnight open. Nice reaction here since we took out the pre-market lows. Let me just check YM. So NQ. Yeah, it seems like NQ is trying to move away once again. Meanwhile, YM is the weakest here. It already took out London lows. And ES is struggling here with midnight open. Midnight open now is acting as a resistance here on ES. Let me just put this on the combine. Yeah. So another rejection here at midnight open. Just look how price has been acting here on the quarters of this fair value gap here. So it kind of rejected here, rejection here at the midpoint as well. So now, if price really wants to go lower, we have to somehow respect this order block here as a bearish order block. This is now the first presented fair value gap as well. Oh, not yet. Yeah, seems like bearish order flow is being respected here. And it looks like ES is heading to London lows here. And it might try to take out London lows and eventually retest the NWAG, which is still open. Still no first presented fair value gap here, but I can see NQ falling down here. So the strongest asset will probably drag everybody with it. So ES and YM. YM must really be taking the dive here. Let me just check. Why is it like this? Oh, okay. What's happening here? Yeah, it is. So at this point, London low is almost been reached here. Yeah, so far we have the first presented fair value gap right here. It's a tiny one. But I believe this is the first one that I'm watching here. Yeah, it is. But we have some implied fair value gaps, but I don't really use them. Only like those clean fair value gaps. Let's see if we can have some measure of retracement to the first presented fair value gap. It would be interesting to search for an entry heading to the end wall. I'm still watching here. Nice reaction here from the first presented fair value gap. Nice displacement. So far, price left London lows here. It kind of came for the 50% of the opening range gap. It's now retesting the order block. There we go. It's a nice rejection here from the order block. And we will probably head lower now. Let's just see if we can get this gap here filled. So it seems like we are in. Let's see if we can get some follow through here. I would like to see some movements reaching for London lows. So far, we have a clear, nice rejection here. So price was not able to close above the midpoint of this fair value gap here, of the bearish one. Now let's wait for that follow through. So London lows are reached here. But we are searching for the new week opening gap. So at this point, I will take out some risk out of the table. I know that's a it's a premature break even here, but since I'm expecting new week opening gap, we might retrace a bit here. Let me just check here. Yeah, I could have taken some out here, but it's just a 1 hour here at London lows. So it's not sufficient for me. I need something more than 1 hour just to take some profits or partials. Let's see if we will have some more follow through here. Or if price will do a classic reversal at 950. But I believe we still have some lower liquidity here just to take out, and some imbalances here to rebalance as well. So that's why I decided not to take out anything here on at London lows. So price now trying to head lower here. At this point, I will, since we are at -2, I will probably, minus 2.5, I will probably take out some should have taken this already. Not liking how NQ is trying to move to the upside. Kind of ruining my ES trade here. There we go. And now I have one micro, which I will probably trail until Friday low, or eventually this regular trading hour session sell side liquidity point. So let's just see. So at this point, we kind of met the NWOG. This will have some more liquidity down here. So let's wait and see if we can reach that. But this was a nice displacement here. I was looking into NQ and I was not liking it because I had my stop already at break even. I believe it was prematurely put at break even, but when we are facing a low probability session like the Monday no news, I like to protect myself because it can eventually not go straight to where we think it will, and do some crazy and strange things. So that's why I decided to protect myself as soon as I could, and took out the majority at 2.5 standard deviation, which I believe it was 770. Yeah, it was. Could have taken it here, but I decided to play it safe and not be greedy. Now I can try to be greedy with this micro that is still running. But yeah, we came in with a bullish bias. On ES, but I decided that I would, and I said that I would eventually switch to a bearish bias, targeting the new week opening gap. Eventually, if I saw some larger displacement to the downside, and yeah, that it's not that large of a displacement, but the movement was quite steady. So as soon as I started to see the quarters of this, not this one that I would like to show you. Yeah, the quarters of this fair value gap being rejected, just like this. 1 rejection, 2 rejections, 3 rejections, 4 rejections. Yeah, then I decided to switch my bias and try to go for the end wall, which was down here. So this is it's a low hanging fruit trade, but still. Not much drawdown that we faced. It was kind of a clean trade, honestly. My stop was above the order block here, as you can see. So this marks a good start of the week, honestly. Now let's see if we can go even lower. That's what I would like to see. Eventually targeting Friday's low. But the low hanging fruit is met here. We still have, if you look into the regular trading session, we still have here down 100% of the opening range gap. Closed the trade right before reaching 75% of the opening range gap. So it was kind of a clean close of the majority of the position here. I kind of left about, let me just do some calculations here. I kind of left about, so 7, yeah, I kind of left about 15% of the trade as a runner. But let's see. Let's see where it takes us. Below the end walk, as I was telling you, below the end walk, we have some regular trading hour session sell side liquidity. We have Friday's low, which is always an interesting point here. We have a 4-hour fair value gap, which was not that worked. As you can see, it kind of was tested here at the 2nd of October. But yeah, besides that, it's still an open inefficiency on price. So we might get that follow through to the downside here, but we need to wait for it to happen. So at some point I was afraid that here the macro could eventually mark a reversal type of movement, but fortunately we managed to get inside the macro as a short position, and yeah, and fulfill that until the end walk. Now let's see if we have some follow through here. So price reaching once again for the end walk. At this point, I believe we will try to explore the sell side liquidity here, the regular trading hour sell side liquidity point. And this can eventually be a macro to macro move. So if we are indeed bearish, I believe we will face some macro to macro move. So 1050 would eventually mark the end of the bearish move. So we'll be attend to it just to see how far we can go. Let's just see. Now, I think we need some help from NQ, since NQ is the strongest asset, I believe. It's still the strongest. Yeah, it is. YM is not is the weakest, as you can see here. Was a clean fall. Ah, damn. Yeah, for those who play the Six Sister approach, this would have been a marvelous trade here, trying to get inside around here eventually. This one would have been marvelous, honestly. But I don't play YM, even if it if even if it is the sickest sister or the stronger sister. I don't play YM. I just play ES, and ES is always that asset that will eventually do a mix in between YM and NQ. So a reaction here once again, displacing price is really displacing here. Kind of a weird timing right at the end of the macro. Let me just check the 2 minutes. Well, the 2 minute it can mark somehow a retest on the order block here, but since the displacement really started at the end of the macro, it can also mark some sort of a reversal because the low hanging fruit is met here. And if we look at the YM, there's not much left here. So everything here is balanced, as you can see. We still have these lows, but let me just check higher time frames. Yeah. YM's work is probably done here, so that's why ES is just displacing to the upside. And yeah, we will be stopped out here at break even on a micro. Nice reaction, honestly. Was expecting a lower drive, but I'm glad I took the majority of the position here somewhere. Otherwise, I would be angry with myself here. So now let's see if price will react, if price will give some opportunity for those who want to go long and do a retrace here to the fair value gap. But in the meantime, we got stopped out here at break even. So this was a nice play. I'm really content with it. I guess the day is done here, but could have been better. It always can be better, you know, but yeah. So I was expecting somehow of a macro to macro movement. Kind of disappointed me, but I don't know. Let's see. It would be a shame that my runner would just be stopped here to the tick, and if we get that follow through to the downside. Let me just check the 15-minute here just to see where the imbalance is. Yeah, the imbalance is right here. So if we still want to see Friday's low, it is kind of acceptable for price to come take out these highs here, eventually retrace to that imbalance, and then move lower to Friday's low. So it's kind of acceptable. Now I'm curious to see if this is really a unicorn model where you have the breaker here, this fair value gap. So London lows are taken, a retrace to the analog, a retrace to 75% of the opening range gap. So in terms of sell side, there's still some regular trading hour sell side, but this can work as a reversal type of movement as well. The only thing that is not aligned is the most important thing, which is time. It should have happened inside the macro and not after the macro. But let's see. Price can eventually do something like this. And if it does, then we will probably head to new all-time highs here. Or we can eventually go for that 15-minute imbalance and then move lower once again. So I don't know. Just speculating right now. Yeah, so far the unicorn model is somehow happening, but the first presented fair value gap is acting here as a small resistance. Let's see if we will have this rejection here or if price will go higher. Yeah. Yeah, so far the unicorn model is holding, but usually the unicorn model develops a faster move to the upside. So we might just be rebalancing and eventually take out or just take out these 15-minute highs, reaching for this imbalance and then displacing lower. I don't know, but this is what I would like to see in price. Just let me mark this. It's kind of a messy chart right now, but yeah, this is the 15-minute fair value gap. Let me just check once again the YM chart. So micro Dell. Yeah, the Dow already offered some sort of unicorn model here as well. So we have the breaker, we have the bullish fair value gap. Now it's followed by displacement. So we have the bullish order block as well already formed. But NQ is not in sync with YM and NES right now. If you look into NQ, just like this, NQ is not. I believe NQ is the worst price action in between the three. Even ES is cleaner than NQ, and usually it's the other way around. Usually ES is the messiest because it is the most balanced asset. So it has a lot of uh, how should I say it? It has a lot of zigzags. Uh, and NQ and YM, they are usually they are cleaner with their moves. So the unicorn model is still holding. We are inverting this fair value gap here, or trying to. It would be interesting to see a move higher, eventually to midnight open, a rejection right here at midnight open, in between 10:50 and 11:10. Let me just mark this out. Just like I was telling you, it would be nice to see. Let me just rephrase it. Whoops. So it would be nice to see price climbing to the upside, and here near the macro, it kind of rejects the 15-minute fair value gap. Midnight open as well. This place is lower. This would be transformed into a reclaimed fair value gap, and we would eventually search for another entry around here, just to seek for this regular trading session sell side, and eventually Friday is low. But only if this happens, because otherwise there is a strongest point that can act as drawn liquidity, which is previous week's high, which is all-time highs once again. And if price just continues to the upside, tries to, just let me mark this with another color. So this is the second scenario that can eventually happen. Yeah, it can happen that price will come around here, manipulates to this inefficiency here, and then eventually displaces once again, climbs up, and does something like this. So right now I have these two scenarios in mind, but like I said, the day is done. I will not try to engage with any more trades. But yeah, expecting these two possible scenarios. Meanwhile, we are watching a divergence in between NQ and ES. So NQ is driving lower, while ES is trying to hold here right next to the first presented fair value gap. And whenever we have indices diverging from each other, we should stay away from it. ES is still pushing. But as you can see, it's in a form of a high resistance here. And yeah, usually whenever we have some sort of external to internal liquidity, we cannot, the majority of times we can expect these types of high resistance runs. I usually like those that take internal liquidity to external, which is a move like this. But I don't tend to like these external liquidity to internal ones because you can always expect price action like this, and this can be frustrating because at any time you can face some hard displacement to the downside, taking out all of these stops here, those long stops, and that can be very frustrating because price can be here for a while and suddenly it drops down 10 to 15 handles in a single candle, and there's nothing you can do about it. Yes, really struggling to get above the first presented fair value gap, as you can see here. Meanwhile, NQ is just searching for new lows. Let me just take a look at YM, which was the weakest asset, but it kind of, yeah, the unicorn model really delivered here on YM. But since it is the weakest one, it's kind of a hard shot to get into some longs here. Yes, it's just creeping here to the upside, trying to reach for this imbalance. Let me just mark this as a 15-minute and not 1 hour. This is a 15-minute. Which is inside. Let me just this 15-minute is inside of the 1 hour bearish fair value gap as well. So I would like to see bearish reaction here. It would be nice to see a bearish reaction inside a macro, so that would give us a lot of confidence. The price is now just accumulating. This for me is not a run to the upside. It's not trying to increase in price. It's just accumulating, waiting for the next move. So yeah, as I was saying, yeah, we just came in with a bullish bias because in all-time highs, Um, you will play with the best side of probabilities if you are always waiting for new all-time highs, because shorting all-time highs is one of the hardest things that you will get. But the possibility for a lower move was on the table as well. So, especially to London lows. So as soon as I started to see 8:30 being rejected, midnight open being rejected, the midpoint of this bearish fair value gap and its quarters being rejected as well, then I decided to switch my bias and wait for a short entry. Then I was expecting a retrace to this order block. It really came for the order block. I could have entered here and been a bit aggressive with my entry here right at the touch on the order block, eventually placing my stop above midnight open. But I like to be sure in this type of situations because I had no fair value gap here holding the order block. I mean, I had this one here, which is an implied fair value gap, but as I said before, I don't tend to use them. So I just waited for a displacement, a rejection of the order block, and as soon as we rejected the order block and retested this volume imbalance, I believe I opened my position at the volume imbalance. Then it was just a matter of time before new lows come into play. And in terms of drawdown, it was kind of a clean trade because there was no drawdown or no major drawdown. I mean, and as soon as I saw price rejecting the midpoint of this fair value gap, then I was certain about a search of new lows. The only thing that I was a bit hesitant was if I should have ended the move at London lows or waiting for New York opening gap. And yeah, I decided to take the majority here at minus 2.5 because since we are in a no news Monday, it could have left new opening gap behind and retrace higher. So, and since I prematurely protect myself at break even, I had to take out some partials as soon as I could. So there we go. Price came for the order block. It really didn't touch the 15-minute fair value gap here. But as I was telling you, see, if you're long here, it's a mess because in a matter of seconds, all your profits will get wiped out. So now let's see if this is just a manipulation and price will continue higher, or if we maintain this kind of market structure shift here and displace lower. But so far, I tend to believe this is kind of early for price to come lower. I would like to see it playing inside of the macro. We still have about 8 minutes, but it seems like so somehow happening. NQ is also trying to search for something lower, it seems. Let me just take a look at YM. Yeah, but YM is doing nothing like ES is. So displacement once again. So those who were long here on the unicorn model, which is something like this. So you have your bullish fair value gap here. So there we go. And you have your breaker right here, which is the highest bullish candle in between these lows, these two lows. So the combination of these two, this is the unicorn model after taking London lows and touching the NWOG. So everybody who's long somewhere here, yeah, their stops I have get triggered with this displacement lower. So this to me is just a manipulation. It's too early for some form of a reversal. And if you look into NQ just made a new low. Just made a new low. But NQ already tagged the 15-minute fair value gap, yeah. ES felt kind of short about it. Let's see. So far we have a breaker somewhere here as well. So where is the breaker? Yeah. Let's see if we get this reclaimed as a bearish fair value gap or not. So far it's acting like an inverted fair value gap. So if we can reclaim this as a bearish fair value gap, that would have a lot of power to drive price lower. But so far it's kind of struggling to get below it. Yeah, this is poor price action here. And in the meantime, we are 3 minutes away from the macro. So we might have not been able to touch, or price will probably not touch the 15 minutes for value gap. That's what I would like to see, but if it doesn't reach for that, it might be a situation where I can understand it, that price is kind of weak and it's not strong enough to even touch the imbalance. Nah, there we go. So this was a tricky move just to trick people into shorting before heading to this imbalance. So, like anticipated, this was the manipulation lower. I believe a lot of people got stuck here, and they probably are being wiped out right now because they see this as a market structure shift here, um, and try to engage with shorts around this candle. So they place their stop losses here, and right now they are being wiped out. And if they are being wiped out, we still have some longs to be wiped out as well. So these stops placed here or eventually down here, they might get triggered as well inside the the macro. So let's see if this is a continuation higher or if we will stay with the bearish idea of Friday's lows. Yeah, it seems like price is kind of stuck here, right below the 15-minute fair value gap, the bearish one, and the 1 minute, the 1 hour. I mean, just like I was saying, I'm kind of expecting a purge eventually of these highs, because now we have some relative equal highs here on ES, and then a continuation lower that would be one of the plans and one of the options that we have. The other one would be a continuation higher, because price already manipulated here. It never came for the stops being that are placed here, but yeah, it can be enough for a move higher. Price is still stuck here, just waiting. In the meantime, we are already inside the macro, the 10-15 macro. So I believe if it wants to come lower, it will probably deliver inside the macro. But if it doesn't want to come lower, it will probably stay around here and accumulate in somehow of a diagonal accumulation eventually. Let's just see. I'm just curious to see how the New York AM session will end. If it will deliver more sell side liquidity, or if we will just stay here waiting for YM eventually to pick up some bullish pace. Yeah, somehow the market turns into a boring price action situation. So there's nothing that we can do right now. In my point of view, we are just accumulating for something to happen. We are inside a macro, but the macro is not delivering well right now, or it might start to deliver right now. Let's just see. So at this point, we are inside of the 15-minute fair value gap, which was a point of interest that I talked before. And now, for a continuation bearish, I would like to see some lower displacement. Otherwise, otherwise we can eventually move higher and still move higher. But for a bearish scenario, I would like to see a clear rejection of this 15-minute fair value gap. A formation of a bearish breaker would give us the confirmation of that bearish movement. But if it doesn't, I believe we will still grind higher and creep higher. Yeah, so far price took out relative equal highs here. It's kind of rejected the first touch on the 15-minute fair value gap. So at this point, for a bearish scenario, I would like to see price displacing lower, eventually transforming this inverted fair value gap into a reclaimed fair value gap. But if nothing of this happens, price will just creep higher, facing some resistance here, probably at midnight open. But yeah, trying to get inside of this range once again. Let me just take another look at YM. And YM was the weakest of them all. Was a nice drop here. How many handles did we drop? Yeah, this was an aggressive move to the downside and kind of one-sided. Yeah, there was no green candles, just 1, 2, 3 green candles for. Yeah, they are kind of dojis, so they actually don't count. But yeah, it was a nice fall. Let's get back to ES. So ES trying to reach for midnight open, and now I would like to see if something bearish. If nothing bearish happens here, then we need to consider that price will probably search for higher ground and eventually at least stay inside this bearish fair value gap. So price really reaching for midnight open here. Let's see how we will react as soon as we close below or above. So far price is playing below. Once again, trying to reach for it. And so far, the unicorn model, well, it kind of delivered, not the way that I like to see price action. This is kind of messy here, but it already delivered about 10 handles, so not bad. Price is now trying to stay above midnight open and above the midpoint of the 15-minute fair value gap. So until now, there's no bearish signs. We are still heading to the upside. So the unicorn model is really prevailing now. Yeah, but as you can see, price is kind of struggling to get above it. I wonder how long this bullish fair value gap will hold here. If we can invert this fair value gap here and displace lower, that would eventually trigger a bearish reaction here. Kind of a slow price action right now. But yeah, we are closing the macro as well. So the closing macro, the closing New York AM session macro will take place. And with that, I believe we are reaching the end of the stream as well. So it was kind of a nice trade here. Honestly, I came in with a bullish bias, but a bearish movement until London lows, or eventually the NWAG was on top of the table as well. And yeah, I kind of got triggered. My bearish bias got triggered when I started to see 830 open rejections, rejections of the midpoint and the quarters of this bearish fair value gap as well. So then I just waited for an order block formation, a retest of the order block, and eventually a rejection of it. And as soon as it rejected, I kind of entered a short position and yeah, took the majority out somewhere at minus 2.5 standard deviation, because I was not certain if we would go lower eventually, digging into the NWAG. So yeah, took out the majority here, but then the runner was stopped out at break even. And since then, identified the unicorn model here as well. But yeah, I had no intention to interact with it. And it kind of delivered, but as you can see, this is not the type of action that I like. And whenever we have some sort of external liquidity to internal liquidity, we always have this type of environment, which I personally don't like. And in between 10:50 to 11:10, I was hoping, or I was expecting somehow a rejection of midnight open and the 15-minute fair value gap, just for a new drive lower, eventually targeting these lows. These ones right here, the unicorn model, this regular trading hour session sell side liquidity, and ultimately Friday's low. So right now it's kind of happening. We are displacing here. We have our breaker as well already. We have the inversion. It's not completed, but this is what I'm expecting. A formation of an inverted fair value gap here. So let's see if we will have that drive lower, or if price will just use this as a manipulation and continue higher. Yeah, but it seems like we don't have that inversion yet. So this bullish fair value gap is still bullish. It was just a manipulation. And we are still below midnight open here. But as you can see, price is really struggling to get above midnight open. It's a shame that price is really it kind of slowed down, and it's been kind of boring to see it for the last couple of minutes. But yeah, anyways, I would not, or I will not engage with anything more. It's been 2 hours since the start of the stream, so my intention is to end it in the next couple of minutes. I was just waiting if we have that displacement lower, but it doesn't seem like it. It seems like price wants to reach a little bit higher. So yeah, I will give it about 5 minutes more just to see. I'm sorry. Yeah, oh well, doesn't seem like nothing will happen. Nothing on a bearish side, and on the bullish side, it can eventually keep grinding higher, but I will not interact with it. not not liking how price is just creeping higher with no real momentum. Is just slowly climbing up, and usually I'm not a big fan of moves like that. I usually like those moves where price aggressively tries to reach for something clear, and this is not the case. This is clearly and definitely not the case. So I prefer to stay away from it and not interact with it. See, prices has not been able for the last couple of 20 minutes. It's not been able to close effectively above midnight open. So it's just smelling midnight open, not not been able to close effectively. So yeah, guys, I believe I will end the stream here. There's nothing to work with, and I'm just wasting my time watching paint dry on a wall or something like that. So yeah, it was a pleasure being here. I hope to see you tomorrow once again, same time, in between 9:15 to 9:20 New York local time. Um, and yeah, I hope yesterday's action will be a little bit more cleaner uh, and fulfilled with more opportunities than today's opportunities. Um, we still had two opportunities here, maybe one a little bit above here, but yeah, and then we had another one on the long side, but decided just to take one trade, and I think that's what discipline allows us to do. So whenever we are in profit, um, taking more than one trade is just feeding your ego. So if you're in profit, just end your day and that's it. You made enough. So yeah, guys, hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. If you're not subscribed yet, just hit the follow button. And yeah, hope to see you tomorrow. Stay safe and see ya.